Okay, next in our Preparing for the Interview series, I'd like to talk to you about planning your time and the materials that you need to take with you to the interview. So to start with, you want to plan to arrive plenty early. Some people say walking in the office 10 minutes early is appropriate, absolutely, to show up at the door. But especially in larger cities and places where you're not familiar, you definitely do not want to be late. It may be to your advantage to show up 30 or maybe even 40 minutes early to make certain you're not caught in the negative traffic. I'm in Atlanta, Georgia, and at any given time of the day, a 30-minute commute becomes an hour and 15-minute commute simply because of traffic patterns. So again, if you think you could potentially get caught in something like that, plan for it. Now, when I say show up, you do not walk in the building that early. That is a negative in itself. You may need to remain in your car, so have something with you where you can entertain yourself and again, possibly potentially continue to prepare for the interview while you're waiting. Okay, so you can hit that target mark of showing up 5 to 10 minutes early to the actual office where you'll be interviewing. Okay, if you find yourself in the unfortunate position that you could potentially be late, call ahead. Don't call ahead at the time of the interview. Call 10, 15, 20, 30 minutes early when you immediately become aware that you could be late. It shows pre-planning, so you have your explanation. Hey, I'm caught in traffic. I know it's not for 30 minutes, but the way the traffic is, it could take me 45 to get there. So individuals will have been in that position before. They will understand that, but it looks far better if you call that far in advance. It gives them time to prepare so they don't get geared up and then have to sit there and wait on you. Now, so that's timing. Material to bring to the interview. Well, obviously you're going to want to have some form of folder or portfolio to hold these different items. Okay, so it doesn't have to be anything expensive, but it needs to look nice and it needs to be of the same formality that your suit is. So nothing brightly colored. Avoid canvases and things like that. A fake leather or leather portfolio, an imitation leather that looks fine, you can get from a Target or something like that for relatively cheap. And of course you can get an extremely expensive one as well, but the relatively cheap one is fine. Lots of schools and organizations already give these out, so you may already have one. Now, in that, you're obviously going to want to have a notebook so you can jot things down, but aside from the notebook and a reliable writing instrument, you're going to want to have things that you've prepared for the interview. So to start with, have your resume and cover letter. Go over your resume and cover letter again so you can remember the stuff that you put in there, because when they're asking you questions, lots of those questions may be drawn specifically from the information that you put in to that resume or cover letter. So again, first familiarize yourself with that. Now, if you've done a good job of preparing your selling points and things like that, again, that should be at the forefront of your mind, but don't let it slip your mind that, again, to review those individual bullets. Okay, have your references with you, the contact information for your references, because you likely listed on your resume or cover letter that references were available upon request. Well, in this situation, have them with you in case they ask you for them at that point in time. Okay, now you're going to, again, you've done a good bit of research background on the company and things like that. And when you're interviewing with multiple places, some of that information can start to get confusing. So you should have a fact sheet about the company where you've written down in a one-page format, easy access, so you can see the key information that you wanted to recall when coming into the organization. Again, the things like their position in the market, their structure, their corporate officers, their product lines, business model, things like that. Just key things to remind you of talking points. In some cases, you've already thought of questions, logical questions to ask the employer at the end of the interview that hopefully will make you look more eager, more intelligent, more knowledgeable of the industry and company itself, and you may need to jot something down about those to remember that. So again, all of these things can help you move forward in the interview process. And then lastly, if you've had previous correspondence with the company, any information they've already supplied you, you need to have that. You need to at least have that information, if not a printed form of the previous correspondence, so you can familiarize yourself and make reference, because they may have already answered some of the questions that would be typical, like what is the next step, etc. They may have already given you a time frame for what the interview process looks like, so you wouldn't want to re-ask those questions. So again, collectively, all that information is the material that you're going to want to bring with you. If you see the need or find the need, you may want to go beyond just a portfolio and have a small bag or briefcase that, again, appears professional, generally leather in this case. With the briefcase, even a light skin leather or a dark skin leather is going to be fine or appropriate, as long as it's professional looking. If you have additional materials you need to take with you. So collectively, that's it. That's planning your time and the materials you need to put together to take with you to the interview.